strip commercial or general business developments. The provision of this district also intends to avoid undue traffic congestion on minor streets by direction such development to abut upon or have relative access to major transportation arteries. Encroachment by industrial, residential, or other uses considered capable of adversary affecting the localization, commercial, and business characteristics of the districts and discouraged. Again, this is my family's home. If they move out and I raise a family there, that is a resort right next to where I'm growing my family now too.
I hear that. We're just, okay.
I just wanted to bring it up to your attention too.
I don't know. Yep, thank you.
Appreciate it.
On those buildings, how much distance is going to be between the separate buildings?
That's what that plan right in front of you is. There's.
I don't want to read it, just
That's
tell
an
me.
old one, isn't it? This is.
There's more underneath
That's
that.
not here.
That's right.
No, I know that. Here and here and here and here and here and here would be.
Back up here. See the separation of the buildings.
So we have our setbacks.
What we said there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how does that work with fire?
Rick, we're gonna need to have those, because of building separations, fire department access, we'll need those site plans to go through that
I
as
got
well.
that. Yeah,
So-
so this is the first time we're
Yeah,
seeing this.
yeah, I know, I just was throwing it in the
And
loop.
this really wasn't designed to go with that tonight. It was mainly for the definition, to see what we're gonna do as
Oh,
far
okay.
as allowing that
That's
type
why
of
I'm like-
construction.
Well,
So-
this is also something that we have to create a new one.
Yeah.
This gives us a basis to create it from, so that we're not making something too big that doesn't work, or making something too small that doesn't work. Because personally, I wouldn't know where to start unless I have some place to start from.
Yeah, our setbacks between these two buildings are 10 foot. That's in meters.
So basically, it's 10 foot between buildings.
Buildings or eaves?
Between buildings.
Is there a recommended, is there like an approximate distance as of now of how far their property from our property, where their resorts are gonna be compared to our property?
Yeah, the
Is it gonna
setback,
be like 15 feet, 10 feet, or?
whatever the setbacks are required for the.
This whole thing has to go through the ZBA.
And that's, pardon?
The whole thing has to go through the ZBA.
Right now, because we don't have, yeah, and that would be under, well, that would be under a special use permit, right? Well, the special use,
Doesn't exist right now.
correct,
Unless the ordinance is changed.
correct.
So how much space do you need between buildings?
I'd have
Should
to,
be 10 feet to the eaves.
yeah, I mean, I have to look and see what he's got going and
Right,
review
right.
codes, but, right, and it also depends, fire department access, you know, fire loads, things like that, there's, you know, factors in the code to sit here and not,
No, I understand.
yeah,
that.
so,
Is that
I mean,
factored in?
10 foot, 10 to 15 foot is that range, without having my code
No,
book,
that's fine.
it's like that.
Ballpark figure.
Yeah, yeah, so he's close, I'll give him that.
Your setbacks on your property lines, I think, are 10 foot. so whatever.
C1,
15 foot.
Yeah, really? Wow.
C1 on the document I have says rear yard setback minimum 25, and then front setback 45, and side yard setback minimum 15. Is that correct, or?
Yep.
And they got you have that.
Correct.
Change the one on the water side.
Well,
Because the front yard,
yeah, so this one, site 2, this one has a 25 on the ditch. or
is that the
whatever.
bay? No, the bay one is what I'm talking
We've
about.
got
This
45.
left,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, we've got
We
45.
got
and
the same
25.
problem on that lagoon.
It's the 45 on the bay
Lagoon
side.
is water, it needs a front setback from the lagoon.
It does have.
Right.
Okay. Because the other one I saw was, it was opposite because your front yard is your water side, and they had,
That was changed.
they had the,
25 on that side.
correct. This is the bay.
We have 45 here, all we'd have to do is shift it.
Okay.
It still meets required.
Existing building. Yeah, that was the only other comment.
There's just no
Because-
definition
in
in
your
your book on.
There is, you
waterfront.
gotta read it. It's, that said, some of our other definitions are not very clear, need to be updated. But that's our next goal, is to do that, once we get past the master plan, so. Yeah, I mean, you got the space if you move it back to,
They got landscaping setbacks also that weren't on the original drawings also.
what's that?
Landscape setbacks.
Oh,
Those trees there.
so getting back, I mean, the basic thing we're trying to talk about is what, you know, what's the classification or definition of that type of a, you know, building we would have under special use?
We have to start with the zoning. You say you have documentation that has been rezoned?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
I can verify that.
Over
I think
here.
in 18 it was. October
April
of 18.
12th.
April 12th it was,
It
yeah.
was rezoned.
Cause I checked it out and I couldn't find it, and then registered deed says it is, but it was done, something was sent from Bregel. And,
Yep. Here's the minutes from April 12th that they were rezoned.
nobody in the town here can find anything on it.
Right here.
Yeah, I want to dug those out of the book, minutes book. Where those three lots were, the three
One
lots.
of them was already rezoned, the other two were not.
Gotcha, yeah, so they're all C1, and then, then it was a motion made to table the special use permit back then. And then nothing else was done until October, and then a set of plans were brought in November, and then I can't find anything else in the minutes mentioning anything about that, because if a special use permit would have got approved by us, then it also has to go and get approved by the board of trustees, and none of that was in this, I even went a whole year past that. I don't know what happened, something got dropped, something got done.
There's not enough.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like we got to study this special land use situation and come up with a solution for it. That's the only way it's gonna get off the ground at all. Then we got all the,
Well, setbacks are easy to figure out. I mean, if we allow,
well,
you
the
know,
parking is
that can, well, all that's not relative right now. Basically, we have to create the use first,
that's right.
and then he can tailor all that stuff to,
That's right,
you
we
know.
have to have the land use,
Right.
special land use.
So by use, I can put two multi-units there.
That's what we're talking about, multi-units on a lot.
Yeah, you wouldn't be here.
Multi-
There were three units, you wouldn't be here.
That's what I'm saying. I could today
It's not
just
a
go.
I mean, you could go put duplexes on there if you want
Right,
tomorrow. You
right.
can put multi-unit, 3-unit on there tomorrow.
And we
You
have
have
the
to get
setbacks,
permits.
we have the parking.
Yeah.
Is
But
that-
I'm
is
just saying that you,
Separate or conjoined, does it matter or no?
pardon me?
Separate or conjoined, does that matter? With multi-unit, as in 2 units separate, or one big unit as a
No.
duplex lockoff?
Multi-individual units.
He's looking at multi-individual units. But right now, a duplex is a single-family home, a duplex, or a multi-unit, which is one building with 3 or more units in the building, is allowed by right now. So he can go pull out, once he got his site permit done, he can go get his permits right after that. So, I mean, that's already allowed.
Yeah.
So, you know, whether it's, like,
You know, I kept quiet, I'm trying to make it best I can, but Mr. Penix, the only one that can put a concern to the board,
Okay.
he's worried about our little resorts. Their family owns a resort to the north of them. He's worried about our little resorts, he owns the resort already.
I know,
I get it, we're competition to him.
that's why I'm just listening.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
It's not the competition, it's the multi-units that affect us. a little.
Okay, we're getting, I got it, okay, we're getting a lot off track, you know, I'm hearing what's all that is, right now I'm saying this is what he could do tomorrow. So, whether it's those 2 buildings, or whether it's single buildings, you know, he still can put buildings on that property the way it says.
Yeah,
So, you know, I guess I don't know what the biggest, I mean, would you rather have one big long building to look at, would you rather have separate ones to look at,
I.
or you don't want any buildings to look at?
You know, realistically, with 9 windows that way, that you'd feel the same way.
Well, stuff gets built, you know, it's,
100%, just making sure it all.
I got the same thing when I put up my barn, I got from the people behind me, it's like, well, I don't know what to say, but this is my lot, that's yours, so I don't wanna be that way, but it is, you know.
The tough thing I have a problem with, right, I'm just the general contractor. I called the township, I talked to Greg, this was approved. One of the owners came in here, they talked, and it was approved, and that's why they purchased the property. That is the hardship we're dealing with right now.
Well, it's not the first time it happened from that's why I've been trying to dig and find a trail to go like, okay, here's as far as it got, here's your options today, and here's what other options would be as far as the thing. So, you know, whether you got 4 units, you got 8 or 10 people living in that versus 4 individual houses. I mean, it's not that much difference, really. You know. You got something to say? Okay, I'm gonna let this open right now. I mean, I'm trying to keep this under control, but I also hate this back and forth crap. And if you got something to say, then stand up and say it. You know, I'm pretty transparent. I don't really hold a lot back. A lot of people don't appreciate that, but
The biggest thing, the whole road's commercial. I mean, it's gonna bring families to the community, people that spend money at the marina, the restaurants, the bars, you know, everywhere. So, the hard thing, again, for us is this was approved, to our knowledge, and we went through, got our things rolling, went to pull our permits, and then we were told it wasn't. And so, you know, regardless, we're gonna do something here.
Right.
And this was already approved, so that's really our hardship.
Yeah, Rick, that's where the hardship comes in, is we were assured that this was already done before we
well, and
spent a dollar.
we've talked about this before, and that's the
Yeah.
whole thing. It's like,
You know, we come in,
you were assured, but where's the paper that shows
well, when you
that,
come in and
you
ask,
know?
call him clerk, is this already zoned and already said, and he says, yes, it
Then
is.
put the permit out there.
I mean, why wouldn't you believe that the clerk?
Isn't that the day you brought the print in?
That's me.
Yeah,
I was here that day.
yeah.
But
And I
it was a
mean,
matter of.
I
we
mean,
were
I
gonna
didn't stop
review
there
it.
either. I didn't stop at Roger, believe in him. I didn't
Right.
stop at the clerk. I told the girl that was doing the closing, she's a friend of ours, I don't know if you know, ever dealt with Platinum Title.
Mhm.
She's a very smart lady. I said, make sure this is all zoned and everything, so we do, and she knew the plans. And she says, yeah, you guys are all set. It's zoned for exactly what you guys are
D&M
trying to do.
even told us, who did the plans, and who was here November 8th for the plan review.
Bottom line is zoning board of appeals has to approve it.
Cause he dropped, there was a set of plans that were dropped here, but that was for us to see what possibly was gonna happen there. I was standing there, Greg didn't say, yep, go build it. I didn't
No,
say go build it.
Roger said he had the plans, this is Roger, I called him yesterday, had the plans and everything in front of you back in 18, when everything got approved. 2018.
I'm just saying, 2020
Yeah, I mean, no.
now is what we're dealing with.
Right.
We can't go back.
No,
'cause,
100%.
You know, to go back.
Unless you're Diane Feinstein, you guys are all new to the project, right? In a
Pretty
nutshell.
much. Well, I remember when he dug the marina. Our family was here. You know.
Okay, so, in order to have anything go, I mean, if you want the, you know, single ones on there, then we have to come up with a classification for that. And that would be the next challenge for us, you know, how do you wanna state that? You know, you wanna have the.
Spicer gave us the verbiage.
Right.
Special duties and additional sentence. So that special duties give us an additional
And
sentence.
new definitions.
Whose is this?
That's right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can have it.
Just all of a sudden have an extra phone.
So I mean, you wanna have that so we can have, you know, the setbacks is what regulates how much building you put on the lot, period. Doesn't matter what they are, you know. So whether they're individual ones, whether you're still gonna, I mean, really square footage wise, you're gonna have about the same amount of people living out of those, whether it's a duplex, a 3-unit or whatever, you know.
Correct.
And if you have detached dwellings, you know, then, you know, that gives you a little more leeway too. So if we were to include the, mobile family dwelling units, including both attached and unattached units. But then, I don't know how that works, so.
That's right, the only question I have though is, okay, with dwelling, the definition of dwelling can be permanent or transient. So you're doing dwellings, in theory, those could become permanent residents without some kind of definition covering that they wouldn't. Well, if you start out as a resort, people are saying, okay, it's a resort, this is what we okayed. And then if you go by the definition of dwelling, somebody could turn around and say, well, I can just rent it out as a permanent.
I guess what would be the difference? I mean,
Push them
if you,
together and
if you
have
got,
500 square
if
foot.
you
One
got
gets
300 people, 300 people are gonna use it during the year, or one person's there 365 days.
You can push the 500 square foots together and get a permit.
There can be a lot of difference.
As long as it's not.
I mean, there can be a lot of
As long
difference
as it's not
between
homestead.
somebody
I think it's
renting,
fine.
somebody renting it, for a week, and
Correct.
coming in and coming out, and somebody being there permanent, that you
Just
don't know
renting it.
what. And they're coming in for a week and going, the people that own the resort are gonna make sure that it's not, that area is not abused, or misused, or destroyed. I would think,
Absolutely.
But that's,
so.
I think we have to be careful though, if we start to modify the definition and the amount allowed on it, then right now it says, no, we're just looking at it, no, minimum lot size. If we're gonna start changing things, are we gonna change the minimum lot size too, to accommodate for multi-buildings?
No, because the setbacks determine how
I'm
much,
just
the
asking.
setbacks determine how much you can put on a lot, you know.
parking.
Yeah,
We've
well,
got
yeah,
2
correct.
spots per,
But that all
That
comes
meets-
underneath, we've already got those under our
And we
building
meet the
codes,
parking
you know.
requirements.
Right, as far as parking and stuff. We just have to have the classification, period, you know.
I'll make the motion to add the Spicer language, multifamily dwelling units include both attached and unattached. Dwelling attached, a dwelling unit attached to one or more dwelling units by a shared common wall. Dwelling detached, a dwelling that is not attached to any other dwelling unit by any means.
Yeah, but.
Charlie, you get that?
No, I
I
don't have
just-
that. Is that what's on this paper?
No, I sent you an
Email
email
from
sent everybody
Spicer.
email earlier, because I didn't get it till 3 o'clock, so.
How long would it take to have this done, to go through all the steps that need to be?
3 months.
3 months?
Yeah.
How long would it take to rewrite this so that it would be a new section that would address this situation?
Same amount of time, that's said, we just have to come up with a thing, because now I'm reading this, that doesn't, because if you go multifamily units including both attached and unattached, well, that means you gotta have a building with 3 or more units in it.
Well, if it's the same
'Cause
amount
it's
of
the
time,
same-
why wouldn't we just put a Band-Aid on it? Why wouldn't we just write a whole new section that was specifically addressed something like this? Since it's gonna be around,
Basically high density
I mean,
housing.
once it starts, it's gonna steamroll.
Well, the
Gets
industry's
worse.
not going away.
Right.
Hospitality is what is driving.
No,
when
right,
the economy
and
is.
We have to address it, or down the road,
Well, there's only a handful, 5 parcels that it would fit the current zoning in the township. So it's relatively unique.
Well, I think what we ought to do is that, so, oh, that's fine, no, I got it. We have new definition, I apologize, I misread that. So, under multifamily dwelling units, you can have both attached and unattached. New definitions, a dwelling attached, a dwelling unit attached to one or more dwelling units by a shared common wall, and detached dwellings, detached unit that is not attached to any other.
you know, the difference you find attached and unattached.
So,
To allow multiple, and it can be, yeah, multiple dwellings on a lot, as long as it meets the setbacks, you know, for the property.
but under C1,
Yeah.
it says permitted uses, multiple family dwellings with an S.
In multiple,
Multiple family dwellings.
it should have been multiple family dwelling. Because it says,
It's multiple families in a dwelling, not multiple dwellings.
I get it, it just says
well,
multiple family
multifamily
dwellings.
dwellings they're
It's
talking
like a-
about,
Right.
2
So
apartments
that-
in a building.
yeah. So, yeah, and you look back at the definition of multifamily dwelling, it's building with 3 or more, so. You could have multiple family built dwellings on there, but we should just have it so that, we'll have them write the verbiage to, allow for multiple units per
Multiple unattached,
mobile unattached.
unattached units. Should they,
Isn't that what it says?
Yeah, but it doesn't
It says
fit
both
to-
attached and unattached.
you don't wanna go attaching this kind of stuff, it's cost prohibitive.
but it doesn't say that, all it says is dwelling detached. Okay, it doesn't say that we can have more, right now, we can only have one resident per lot,
Are
unless
you
it's
talking
a,
in the definition?
Yeah.
Or are you reading?
yeah, well, we're trying to create it so it'll show that you can have multiple dwellings on one lot. Right now, it does not say that. All that is just a new definition saying what attached and detached is. I don't think she did what we wanted.
Yeah, why don't we just rewrite it?
Yeah, so we should have it
Make
so
a new one. I
that,
mean, you're only taking from what's already there, rewording it and putting that in.
I mean, we can put that in
Simple
anyway.
enough, I would think.
We have to post it and all the other stuff, so, but if we have, multiple unattached dwellings,
Or structures,
structures.
structures.
But what would that,
Structures
structure
leased,
would be what?
Pole barns, I don't like.
Yeah. structure's
Well,
gonna be
then it
fine.
would, no, then it would go to approval of the ZBA to make sure it was the right thing.
We don't need to go to the, be done.
Unattached.
Don't underestimate the power of the ZBA.
And that would be in under just C1 or C1 and R3?
C1,
Just see one.
Just
yeah.
C1?
C1.
By special use.
I don't think if Spicer jumped on it, they could have this done in no time.
Yeah, I'll send this to Jennifer when I get home tonight. She can write it up and we can post it, and then it's gotta go from there.
As long as you just
Do we
had
need
to
to
use
vote
the
on it?
same,
What's
same
that?
word
Need to
usage.
vote on it?
On creating that, yeah, as per Spicer's, use. Do you have any other, Charlie, got anything else to add about that? Are you comfortable with doing that?
Well, what I'm comfortable with isn't quite the answer. My question is, for instance, a 67-foot lot kinda gets me. The size being small, just to start with. I mean, you can't even build a house on a 67-foot lot. But we're gonna put two mini houses and a storage building,
storage.
possibly on a 67-foot lot, according to the print, possibly, which is a lot when you take into consideration, when people come to town, okay, I mean, their families are gonna come to town. If you tell me they're not, go look at any place. People go up north, they enjoy it, their families show up, and so then it becomes, they're gonna park wherever they can park, and then there could easily be a real quick problem. And, I'm not the parking police, I'm just saying, when you have a lot that small, I have concern, we can modify the ordinance, but on the really small lot, I can't see anything more than,
And that's what the difference is between the two small dwellings and a duplex, which you just talked about, would be fine?
well, actually, on the 67-foot lot, I even have a problem with the duplex. If you got a 15-foot setback on each side, you're only gonna be building approximately a 37-foot building in the middle. And I asked somebody, down at the MTA about this regarding motel, and that type, and that doesn't fall into it,
Anything more
you know,
to that definition.
but you start talking about that, but so you're gonna build 15-foot wide if you got a duplex?
I was
It's gonna
looking
be
through today.
15-foot wide with a stairwell to go upstairs, and
Under the C1, there's no minimum lot size.
there may not be, but logic tells you that you better take into consideration your neighbors and
Once again, that all